So in this video, we are looking at agentic AI coding in VS Code, for ABAP, and we're going to be using the Copilot. And of course, you will also be able to connect with Claude. And this is part of the Modern ABAP Development with VS Code. And so in this video, I'm going to be explaining to you what is MCP server, how to connect your ABAP ADT in VS Code to Copilot. And this is an AI assisted development. We are going to create wrap business objects, and we are going to have a Fiori app demo at the end of this series. And so far we have two videos already. And the first part, we looked at how to install and explore the ABAP development tools in Visual Studio Code. We saw how to download the extension. If you do not yet have this video or you have not seen this video, the link will be in the description, and you can also watch the first and second part. The second part was that we were able to log in using RFC and not just the single sign-on, and we also had a walkthrough about the new features that are available in VS Code ABAP development tools. All right, and in this video, actually, like I explained, we are looking at the MCP concept, all right, and the setup, how to start to set it up. And then we use GitHub Copilot as the ABAP agent of choice. So we also use the OData v4 service, and we will try to create the live Fiori element application. All right, so in summary, we look at what the MCP server is all about. If you already know this, you can skip it, and then I show you how to do the Copilot and your MCP setup. There are 4 steps you need to do. Actually, we see the first agent interaction. You watch Copilot read your live ABAP object, and we build the wrap application layer. We create the service definition and the service binding. We publish this service, and then with the Fiori elements, you have your full stack application that will be working in your browser. And also subsequently, we can also look at the ATC and test via agent. So if you are not yet subscribed, you can hit the subscribe button and also turn on the notification to get informed when I upload new videos. All right, so let us begin. So before we actually touch VS Code, we want to spend some minutes to know what is MCP. So if you are already familiar with this, you can skip this part. And so this is for beginners who hear about MCP server, but they do not really know about or have no idea what this is all about. So when we talk about MCP server, okay, before MCP, for example, Copilot has training data and it doesn't know your classes. It only gets your code structure. It cannot read live ABAP objects. So the highest thing to do is to give you generic advice, okay, and this is not suitable for your context, right? But MCP, with MCP, everything changes. So you think of MCP like a BAPI for AI. Just as a BAPI will expose your SAP data or exposes your SAP business logic to external callers through a standard interface. With MCP, the AI reads your live SAP system. Okay, for example, our class that we created. So the AI will know what is inside our class, the real one, and it can also generate code that fits our actual classes, and it can create unit tests suitable for that exact class, and then it provides real answers, not just, oh, I guess, or I think this is where it is. So this is the reason why MCP is very important in this situation, right? And very important, the AI actually reads and navigates. All right, so of course you are in control of activation and transport. Nothing goes into production without your permission, right? So this is what you should know about the MCP server. So in summary, how MCP works. So there are 3 components. It has just one protocol and it connects your SAP systems to AI. So first you have what we call the MCP host. Model Context Protocol. That's what MCP means. So we have the MCP host, which is now the GitHub Copilot in VS Code. And then there is the MCP client, and this is already built into Copilot. And then you have the MCP server. So in this case, we have our ABAP development tool MCP server. So one good thing is that the ABAP development tool comes with the MCP server, so you don't need to make any special configuration for this. And then we have your SAP system. So these three components has one protocol, and then your SAP system is connected to the AI. These are the following tools that are available through the MCP server. You can do ABAP list destination, ABAP run ATC checks, ABAP creation, create object. So transport, create, activate object. So these are some of the functionalities that you can do, and there are more, so you can read up on the SAP website. Okay, now, so up next, we look at how to set up the Copilot plus the MCP server. So there are 4 steps actually, and it takes about 5 minutes, and this works with any Copilot plan. And of course, you can look on how to connect to Claude AI or any other agents that you are using. So first, you enable the ADT MCP server in VS Code. Then you create the mcp.json file, switch to agent mode, and create Copilot instruction. Okay, so I'm going to show you in VS Code how to go through these 4 steps. If you want, you can take a screenshot for reference purposes. All right. Okay, so we are now in VS Code. If you follow the session properly, you know we created 2 classes in our previous lessons or videos, and you can also check out the videos if you missed it. So we had currency converter class and then the exchange rate provider class. So in this class, we explored the functionalities and the features that are released in VS Code for our ABAP development tools, right? So now we are going to enable the ADT MCP server, okay? All right, so if you look right down here, you see that our language server, our ABAP language server is running. And so to connect to the MCP server, it is deactivated by default when you first install the VS Code. And of course, the MCP server is actually also with the ABAP language server. So to activate it, you can just go to your settings, go to files, preferences, and then go to settings. And right here with extensions, you can click on ABAP development. So here you can see maximum search result, you can see the other settings you can activate for your VS Code, ABAP development tools, retry attempts, number of retry attempts for failed operations during object creation. Then right here also you can also activate or deactivate the debugger. Yeah, so you can enable other settings right here. Okay, so what we are looking for is the ADT MCP server. I have already enabled it, so you can just check it to enable it. So for you, by default, it's not enabled, and you see here ADT MCP server stopped. So I'll click on it again, and ADT MCP server running on port 2236. Actually, you can change the port. So this was the default port that comes with it. So you can decide to change the port. There's also the MCP server token. So bearer token for ADT MCP server authentication generated automatically when the server starts. Do not edit manually. Can be further used for MCP configuration with authorization header as authorization, bearer, and then the token. So what this does is that you can use this security token, for example, if you want to use Claude Code or Codex and also integrate it to the MCP server, you need this specific token to actually connect to the server. The meaning of this is that you can also use other IDEs and other agent models that are out there. All right. So now you have your ADT MCP server enabled. All right, so we also need to enable the plugin. All right, so you can right click here on configure tools, and right here you can see there's built-in tools, and then there is the ADT MCP server. So you have to enable this like this, and that's another step we have to do. All right, so the next step is to connect to GitHub Copilot. So right below here you see this icon right here. When you click on this icon at the bottom right here, you can then connect to Copilot. So now I am connected to Copilot. I'm using the free version, so maybe we might upgrade this later. When you click on that button, it takes you to the GitHub Copilot page where you can either log into your GitHub account or to your Copilot account. And now we have the Copilot connected in our system. So we also have some settings here in our inline suggestions. So here you see ghost text suggestions. So when you notice when I type that, I get some ghost text suggestions, and then you hit on the tab and then it's auto complete. So those are the suggestions coming from the Copilot. And then you can also select here ghost text suggestions for ABAP. Next, edit suggestions. So yeah. And now you can also see the eagerness, because sometimes the moment you even select one alphabet, the suggestions comes very fast. So you can set it to be low or to be medium, and automatic decides how fast it could be. So I'll set it at auto for now. Of course, sometimes they are very annoying. If you click on this button, auto, you can select different kinds of LLM models that you can use. So if I select here, you can see Claude, you can see Sonnet, you can see GPT 5.5. So you can also add even Gemini, for example. You can click on manage models. But then for me to add more models, I need to upgrade to GitHub Copilot Pro. So I can do that, but for the demo purposes, I will want to use the free version for now. I've only used 3% out of my free credits, so I will stick with the free version. And of course, for also beginners who may not want to install or subscribe yet to GitHub Copilot, yeah, you can. Let's see how far the free credits takes us. So here you can add models. You can add the models and then manage the models. All right, so I mentioned that we need to create .vscode/mcp.json file. So we do not need to create this with the ABAP MCP server in VS Code because it's already inside the ABAP language server. So this is not needed. All right. So what we need to do now is proceed to the agent mode. So the agents are responsible for performing your task and what you want them to do. So when we go to the VS Code, if you click on the chart and then beside the chart, you can see settings. So when you click on the settings, you can see agents. Currently we have about 4. So there are 3 built-in agents: ask, explore, and plan. So there's also an ABAP developer agent. This was already installed. So let's see what it is. So when you click on that, you see a sample of what an agent look like. So this agent name is the ABAP developer. Okay, and the description is custom agent for assisting with ABAP development task. These are the tools that you use actually. So tool sets to execute, you can see all these tools you can use, and to read you can also use these tools. You can also use the edit tools, search, you can also use the web, and of course we'll use the ADT MCP server. So you can also configure these tools, right? You can select the tools here that you want these agents to use specifically, and then you can say you are an ABAP development assistant. Now these are what it should do generally. Always use cloud compliant ABAP syntax and APIs. This is an example. So the package temp is used for local development. No transports are needed. So these are what you specify in the general description. And then these are testing instructions. Always run unit test after adding new test or changing source code. So this is an example of an agent. So if you want to create, you know where to create an agent. So if you go back and you right click here, you can see new agent workspace or new agent user. So let's click on the new agent workspace. We want to create a new agent. Okay, so to create, you can even generate the agents with the help of the AI that is available. When you go right here, you can see set agent. Here you can select the agent you want to use. So right here you see a button configure custom agent. So when I click on this, you see create new custom agent, generate agent. So you can, the LLM can help you to create the agent. So there's already an existing one here, which is ABAP developers. So when I click on generate agent, it takes me to this point, but I don't want you to generate the agent. So, okay. So here, if you click on generate agent, create a custom agent, agent.md. What job should this agent do? So this way it will help me to create agent, but I want to save my code by creating the agent myself. Okay, I'm not able to find it here. So, but checking on Visual Studio Code now, so VS Code detects any .md files in the GitHub right here. Says VS Code detects any .md files in the .github/agent folder of your workspace as custom agent. So let's do the old school way. So we're going to go to this GitHub/agent and then create the .md file and save it there. So let's do this. So if you want to know the location of where it is saved, you can see the path here. In the file explorer, we can see the path. So this is the agent, double click, and then you see here. So right here, I can create the new text document and then say ABAP Developer.md. Yeah, so you can open it right here and open it in Word document. Sorry, open it in a notepad or something. So I'll just paste the new description of this agent following the previous formats for the ABAP developer that will be responsible for this demonstration. All right, so here we have it, ABAP developer. So let me save this. It's save. So let's close this. Let's go to VS Code one more time and see if we can find these agents in our agents list. Go to charts. So, or we can go to the settings, type, search for agent. Let's see. No, this is still not found. Okay. All right, so I give up on how to create the agent. And if you know how to create the agent, please leave a comment in the comment section. Let us know how you can create a new agent. So I feel the only option now is to actually modify the existing one here, which doesn't make sense to me, but yeah, we can modify the existing code, all right, to use our new agent. So an ABAP developer can just paste the description for our current agent here. All right, so okay, so we have the ABAP developer. I just added some context to the existing one and gave it more specific assignments. Okay, objects that will be generated. This is what we already built and what it's going to build. I just specify what it will do, use naming conventions, and then the coding standards, and then testing instructions. Also some wrap specific rules, then some agentic loop behavior, and that's also, let me save this. All right, so we have it now. So since I tried to create a new agent, but I don't know why it's not working from my end. So let's change from auto, this one, let's select ABAP as agent. So now we have it. So the only way I could, make custom agent is to edit the existing one. So if you find a way to actually create a new agent using this button right here, configure custom agents, then you can let me know. Actually, you can also try, the other way you can do is also try to see if you can, configure already existing one like this ask. You can change it to, can customize this to be your agent that you want to use. You can rename it, right? So I was not able to create new ones from scratch. All right, okay, so now we've created the agent, and one more thing we need to do, we also need to create what we call instructions. The instructions or MD file is where you save some specific instructions that the agents will need to adhere to. All right, so right here on the plus sign, you can see here, you can add further MCP resources, then we can add instructions. So if you click on instructions, configure instructions, so it says select instruction files to attach. So then we get this pop-up, new instruction file, generate on-demand instruction, generate agent instruction. So you can select which one fits for you. Now let's give our agent some tasks to do. So our first agent interaction, so let me show you now what this actually looks like. So I will start something like let's allow it to read our class. Okay, so we'll say read our class, read, what's the name of our class? So let's say read this class. So I just copied and pasted the class name here and say, and explain what the converter currency method does. Of course, it doesn't make sense for you to say, hey, read the whole class for me and explain what it does. It's going to take forever, right? So you can also give bit by bit and explain the whole concept. So let's send this. So it's analyzing. Let's see what it says. And then right there we have the explanation. It says convert currency method validates that I amount is greater than 0. And if I amount is 0 or negative, it raises CX parameter invalid with a parameter I amount must be greater than 0. And it also calls MO provider gets exchange rates with ISOs and iTarget. So you just try to explain it, line by line, and then gives you a summary. So the method converts, this is the functionality of the method now, it converts the inputs amount from the source currency to the target currency using the first exchange rate returned by the provider. Of course, if you don't understand, you can still ask it to explain better, all right? So now you see that it's read the actual code. It doesn't just use some training, random data, not a guess, but the real class, and it lives inside our system, right? So you can go on, and let's ask one more question. So we can say, what currency pairs are supported in this ZCL exchange rate provider? Remember, I have not shared it with the chart. So let's see if you can find out what currency pairs are provided. So you can see it went straight to the class and found it out for us. So this is actually a game changer for you if you already have some basic, intermediate, senior level about programming skills. This could actually make your work faster. All right. So now we go into the more interesting things. Let me close this. So this is an outline. You can also open here to see what's available. You can add it here to see what's available in a class. This class has this TY exchange rates types. It has this member attribute. All right. So yeah, but let me close it for now. So you see, that's exactly the design. And let's us now use this to help us design the wrap application programming layer. So I'm going to type in the prompt here, and here's the prompt. Here's the prompt. I want to wrap ZCL currency converter in a managed wrap business object with a database table. The user should be able to create a conversion request with amount, source currency, and target currency. The result should be calculated automatically via determination on save. What artifacts do I need? All right, so first I asked the question, what are the artifacts that I need, assuming I have no knowledge about it. So let's enter and see the response. So now here's the response. The 7 artifacts that we need. We have DDIC table, a persistent database table. We need this table, of course. And then we need a CDS entity, which is a managed business object projection. And then we need a metadata extension, behavior definition, behavior implementation, service definition, service binding. I already covered these artifacts in my video on Eclipse, ADT on Eclipse. So you can also check my video for more explanation if you don't know about this. All right, so optionally, but likely needed, you can also create data elements and domains for the currency codes and amount types. And then we have a Fiori or OData client if you want a front end. So these are the basic minimum that we need. And because we already know about this, we can agree, and then we go on to the next task for our agent. So normally, let's just create our database table. Let's create our database table. So we can go to our file. We are in this package. Yeah, we are not able to create database table. So what we can do is we can go to Eclipse and create the table and then come back to continue. So in Eclipse, I go to that exact package that I'm working on, which is the ZV5, right click, and I say new, other ABAP repository. I'm looking for table. So database table. Let's select this. Next. The name of the table. Yeah, you already know this. I'll just skip ahead and create the table and the contents. Okay, so now we have this table created, table for currency conversion, and these are the fields: client, UID, source currency, target currency, amount, total, created, and so let's go back to Visual Studio Code and let's allow our agents to do the rest of the work by creating the other business artifacts that are needed. All right, so what I'll do is I need to create the CDS entity. So I'll just paste in the prompt, and then to make it better, I also give it the fields that it needs to create CDS entity for. Yeah, this makes it not to think too much. Okay, so if you provide enough context and information, it's better. So now I say create a CDS root view entity with this name. Do we have this package? Z currency demo. All right, so I've entered the prompt. I said create a CDS root view entity. I gave it the name of the entity and the package in which it should create it. And then I said map all fields with camel case names, UID, and etc. So this is a CDS entity we want to create, root entity, based on the database table that I've already created using Eclipse. So let's see what it's going to bring. So, and then we got this output done, created the CDS root view. All right, so it has created the view, but I'm going to show you the rest of the artifact creation and the Fiori demo in the upcoming video. Ensure you subscribe to this channel. And of course, what you are building so far, we are going through the wrap architecture. We already have these two classes created. We already created this database table. These CDS views also have been created, and subsequently we're going to do the wrap behavior, the service definition, the service binding, and then we look at Fiori elements application. So thank you guys for sticking to this video, and I hope you learned how to use AI agents correctly and effectively. See you in the next video. Bye bye.